You see, we granted a member a leave. Okay? So, and we are looking funny, I'm sorry to say. Because the member now comes and says, no, my bill is ready. Put me for first reading. And we don't want, he's a really, Honorable Hilary Chiaga has been really, really patient. And then Honorable Nyamutoro has also been calling me every day about this bill you've been talking about. So I think we need, you need to give us this bill as early as you can. Because now the sectoral committees are finishing their policy statements, okay? So they'll be having space. Isn't it, Honorable? You'd now be having space to handle this bill. So if we could get it quickly, and then we expeditiously handle it and we settle. I don't even see the issues here, Honorable, we are going to find ourselves debating. Main issues which will be infringing on Rule 80, where we granted the member leave. Most of the issues are issues which will infringe on Rule 8 of our Rules of Procedure, which is against anticipation. That is on the draft bill that we gave the member. Maybe before that, I will first allow Honorable Nyamutoro, who presented the petition. And now, since you're in the cabinet, can be.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Allow me appreciate the Committee on ICT for the well-detailed report. Right Honorable Speaker, just a word of emphasis as you have rightly guided. It is very true, as the committee stated, that matters of the industry do not just fast-track development of the sector, but it is centralized on the young people. We are looking at a Uganda that can easily not just benefit the quality of its artisan sector, but also the quality of the people. It is also not true, Right Honorable, that as the committee stated, that I beg to quote so that I am not, that matters in the petition might not necessarily be addressed by amendment, rather through other issues. Everything pertaining the music industry, Right Honorable Speaker, will be well streamlined if the amendment is put in place. The matters of financing, the matters of digitalization, the matters on how these Ugandans can benefit from the sweats of their work. It is very frustrating to be a victim of underemployment as we fight towards seeing that the country addresses the big concern of unemployment of the young people. These are Ugandans who are stranded on how best they can fruitfully gain from the works that they have put out for years. So I want to add on my voice to support the Attorney General, now that I am in Cabinet, to ensure that this bill is brought on table as soon as possible. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
No, Honorable colleagues, how are we going to debate this? You see, anti-clarification, there's no one on the floor. So the rule is done. This is putting the speaker on the spot. Maybe these points of emphasis, because Rule 80 is tying us down since we granted the member leave, and there is a bill. So, and these are issues that are more. Honorable Chimosho, what is that?
Thank you very much.
And Honorable Sorand.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, through you, I want to seek clarification from the Attorney General about what could be the challenge that they face that delays these bills. Right Honorable Speaker, I chair a committee of physical infrastructure, and there are some sensitive bills. Every time you meet with the ministers, they tell you we are in the process. We are in the process. For example, one, the National Building Review Board. You see the illegal structures coming up. the method of construction, everyone constructing in their own way. And we need a law fully-fledged to empower them and help them. You meet with the minister, they promise you next week, and nothing is coming through. So I wanted to seek, through you, the clarification from the Attorney General. What could it be that impedes them or that affects the speeding of these bills, so that we even don't waste a lot of time to first send a committee recommends what is expected, and then we in circles. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Attorney General, you want to say something about that?
Yeah, Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, the bills that are passed by Cabinet must have a regulatory impact assessment. It must have the funding that is required for it. And the consultations, the worst that can happen, honourable colleagues, is to bring a bill here and then it is sent away. So that's what delays these processes. And also, we can only meet once a week, and there's all that work. So at times, some things lag behind because of that process. I am not sure about which act you're talking about exactly. I would have
Now, honourable colleagues, really my short stint in the cabinet showed me what a minister goes through to bring a bill. Sometimes that's why I even sympathize, because the whole process, is very, very, I don't know whether government, you can see a wolf reducing on that process, that the Attorney General is given more powers, because cabinet members are members of parliament. I don't know. I've seen in other countries, for example, in South Korea, they have, under the office of the Prime Minister, they have a directorate in charge of legislative research and drafting. So, because the Prime Minister is the leader of government business in Parliament, now you find there are scattered forces, all of them trying to make bills. So this research helps to coordinate, and put together. Now the Attorney General, by the time you reach him, it's already, the process is already tedious and coming right toward the end. But the challenge we have here, honourable colleagues, is that we can only ask about bills that were provided for on the legislative agenda submitted by government. So before we ask a minister, where is this bill? Then we need to check, when they were reading State of the Nation address, which legislative agenda did they provide? Usually when the president does not include the legislative agenda, then the Prime Minister comes and tables it here. So we need to look at that. Then for those other bills, I would guide, honourable member, that we can even, if we feel it's a very urgent issue, private members can get a private member to bring that bill. But the challenge we've been having on the implementation bit of it, you find when you're restricted by Article 93 of the Constitution, that you cannot put a charge on the consolidated fund, then your bill again becomes very weak. It will be just a story. So maybe we need to see a way. I'll have a meeting with the Attorney General. Okay? I'll have a meeting with the Attorney General. We see how best. And also, maybe we can always extract properly, crack. Let's always extract properly where the committee is recommending that you need to review this law. We extract and we inform the Attorney General and Government Chief and Prime Minister, so that action can be taken. But I feel what you're raising, Honourable Chimosho, is a very, very critical issue. And the Honourable Namugans, I'm sure, when they are interacting with the committee, they will touch a little bit on that issue. I had allowed Honourable Soro.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I would like to thank the committee for the report. But my issue is the government should prioritize the creative arts industry. If it was a priority and frontlined, we wouldn't even listen to this report, maybe. Everything would have been tackled in the bill and somewhere else. We need this industry to be supported, not in a way of tokens, but in a way, or in a collective way, that everyone with talent, in any talent, should benefit in this. So my request to the government is to prioritize this industry. It employs a lot of people, from the uneducated to the most educated. That's all, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Pio.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I would also like to thank the committee for their report. Whereas a number of issues can be addressed by the bill, there are issues that can be captured under the BUBU policy. The committee talked about the petitioners asking for about 90% of the time for airplay, and there are challenges in accepting that because of enforceability. But when you go to Nigerian television, 90% of the entertainment is local. When you go to Indian television, 90% is local. Go to the Chinese, go even to Tanzania. I wanted to propose, because when you look at, for example, a song like Yoleng, this government used it for their manifesto. The artist now is of international reputation itself. As government, I believe that within the national broadcasters, and we've seen UBC Radio promoting a lot of local content, I think we can be able to enforce it within the national broadcasters. But within the other broadcasters which are private, government has a lot of advertisements that are promoted within these private broadcasters. There can be provisions for those to be conditionalities for them to promote the local content and give more airtime. So I want to propose that we don't wish it away, but we make provision that government can come with arrangements to ensure that local content has adequate airtime within our television and different media houses. Thank you.
Dr. Boka.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to add my voice to thank the chair of the committee and the committee on the report. I want to speak to one aspect of the report, which was an observation about lack of an effective framework of coordination of the arts and the cultural aspects. Right Honorable Speaker, we have the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. Our arts and culture in this country that represents the over 60 tribal entities can be a huge product for tourism. I would like to propose that we look into an aspect of coordinating the arts and culture by ensuring that we have a ministry responsible for that, and indeed the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, I believe, is responsible for that. Possibly at this point I need to seek for guidance on whether or not we do not have sufficient provision within the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development to effectively coordinate art and culture beyond music, dance, and drama. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Lop. Whenever colleagues, I'll give you opportunities on other reports.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I think we need to help the Attorney General. One of the issues is raised is the financing element that is required, and he's right. But you see, of recent we saw government was allocating some billions of shillings to artists in a certain form. I don't think we should be reducing these artists to beggars of some sort. We should lay a lot more, because if there's money for that, then there should be money to process the bills and the financial implications and so on. That's the point really that I'm making. Because when you reduce them to being beggars, you give them some money now, they'll consume it and it will be done. But when there is a law that protects their trade, they will benefit from that, even when they are long gone, their children and so on and so forth. Right Honorable Speaker, the Prime Minister is here, because the Attorney General was also saying there are challenges within cabinet and so on. Maybe we shouldn't burden him with some of these questions. The Prime Minister should commit when this can be processed, so that people get to benefit from their art, from their trade. That way you don't reduce them to beggars. That way they won't be disturbing you as government. Each time there is, a function and there's an artist, they say, now give us some money for this. Once they are protected in their trade and they're able to make money out of that, they will fly on their own. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I thought I should just clarify on Lop's submission about the funds that government has given the artists. Right Honorable Speaker, It is the responsibility of government to ensure that the citizens are well taken care of. The artists that are being mentioned are citizens of Uganda, and in a bid for government to ensure that there is accessible and affordable credit by citizens, the artists did request for a fund to facilitate their circle. This totally has nothing to do with the law that we are pushing for. It is okay for government of Uganda to support the artists as citizens. The artist circle is fully registered, and in the meantime, it is a healing way as we look forward to a conducive environment that enables them to fully benefit from their works. I found it misleading for the law to mention that the artists are being paraded as beggars by the government.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, honorable colleagues, please. Let this not be an exchange. I think what is important is all of us are looking for a sustainable way of supporting the arts industry. That's what we are looking at. From government, from opposition, that's what we are saying. And we are saying through the law, protecting their rights, protecting their content, we shall be able to achieve more. Honorable Gorobi wanted to say something. First, the minister, let the minister first come, then the Prime Minister.
Right Honorable, mine was to respond to a colleague who was asking government to prioritize the arts and the creative industry. And I wanted to provide information that while presenting the strategic direction for NDP4 in cabinet, actually His Excellency the President himself added this sector to the priority list. So henceforth, this is now a priority sector in the government.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, you know, cabinet minutes remain secret until you formally present it here. So the member didn't know because it's not privy to proceedings of cabinet. Chair, then the Prime Minister gives a commitment, we conclude.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I want to thank colleagues for the support. In our recommendation, we talked of other issues raised here, not qualifying to be included in the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act, while proposing also looking at the Local Content Act under Build Uganda. So I want to allay the fear of the youth, the National Female Youth Member of Parliament, who is the minister, that we are not against this, but we are saying let's arrange them in the right place so that implementing is okay. On the Ministry of Gender, when we're interfacing with these people, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, we realize that the sector of culture, arts, reaches a point when they get stuck on where to go, because Ministry of Gender would also be saying some of these issues are supposed to be handled by Registration Services Bureau under Ministry of Justice. Others are supposed to be handled by UCC under Ministry of IT. So we thought this coordination must really be looked into by government so that the sector is supported. And finally, Right Honorable Speaker, I agree with the Leader of Opposition that we should provide necessary laws to support the sector of IT, because we can get a lot out of it from the talents of the young people. But as government is providing funds for Emioga, various categories of people were provided for, the produce dealers and so on, including the artists and musicians. That government provided funds for them under their circle. So I think this is not parading them as beggars, but government is just extending the program, which is nationwide, to all categories of people, including musicians, including leaders, including journalists. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to give that correction and thank the Minister now that Cabinet is considering to give priority to arts and culture, and that would be supported with the finance and necessary laws for the young people to thrive. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, but Honorable colleagues, we should be cautious that it is not Parliament recommending that create ministries. We can observe. Even what we observe, they go and look at it. But now when you recommend, they must come back and report. And we are the ones who have been saying ministries are many, ministers are many. So really, you have, it's a thin line, but we should always play it safe. It can be a clear observation, but not a recommendation that you must do it.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Actually, in our mind, we are looking at within the ministries that exist, issues to be reorganized, restructured, and put together under one roof, but not creating new ministries. But we thank you guidance and advice for future recommendations. Thank you.
Right Honorable Deputy Prime Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, a law is saying that I should commit, but this is not a one-man's business. AG has already said we are going to come back here and report. This has to go through consultation. So, like he said, we'll come back here next week after consulting the Vice President, and the report will be brought here.
The commitment from ROP is that you're going to put in effort. So you don't want to do that.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm going to work with my AG together with the Office of the Prime Minister and the Secretariat to see that it is given priority.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, I now put the question that the report of the Committee on Information, Communication, Technology, and National Guidance on the petition by the Uganda National Musicians Federation on amendments to the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act be adopted. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. As per Rule 220 of the Rules of Procedure, we need action taken within 2 months. I think that's appropriate. Since most of it will be provided for in the bill, I hope we shall be already having it here for processing. Next item.
Item number 6 on the order paper, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries and the Committee on Health on a motion for a resolution of Parliament urging government to prioritize interventions to address challenges of mycotoxin contamination in the country.
So, Chairperson, Committee on Agriculture. Strict 15 minutes. Let's see a way of using it. The Amin War started from Tanzania, Vai Sinjiro, Rakai, and that's the one which liberated this country, first phase of liberation. Okay, so, I think Mitoma potentially, also, I've said potentially, okay? So, honorable colleagues, do we need to open this up? Because what I was asking, yesterday I remember, I told you, Honorable Bwari, that you cannot report on behalf of the Attorney General, but is this the accurate information? Honorable Bwari?
Right Honorable Speaker, I confirm that the meeting indeed took place. When I raised this matter yesterday, Right Honorable Speaker, it was in respect of the 3 court cases that were heard and disposed of in Soroti High Court, where the court ordered government to compensate the 3 different groups. We have over 40,000 verified claimants. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Attorney General, don't disrupt the Speaker. No, the Speaker has to listen to this. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Attorney General was very clear in that meeting. He said his office is not concerned with those who went to court, or those who have the court judgments. He said our lawyers should proceed and seek execution in court, he told us. But we remember all these cases came because we went to court. Attorney General is a custodian of our laws. Now, if the Attorney General is the one declining to implement court orders, so who is going to help us as a country? Mr. Speaker, sir, when we explained that to Attorney General got up and even told the meeting that even if we don't pay you, what will you do?
Honorable Bwaru, just a little. Just sit a little. Please listen to the speaker. The speaker does not negotiate with the member. Okay? Yeah, when I say sit, you sit and you wait. Now, when Attorney General was finishing his submission, there is something he touched, and it touched my heart. It showed humility. He admitted tempers flared, and he might have made statements which he felt touched some people and apologized. I think that was a building block for progress. Okay? Because now we don't want on the floor to be your word against his, because we are not part of the meeting. But I've seen progress. Okay? I think we can build on that, Honorable. We don't report on the conflict that happened, and we say, Attorney General, since you have apologized, okay? Can we now say we're helping these people? I'm seeing progress. That's the line I'm looking at, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. The Attorney General, now that you have apologized, let's now progress. How are you now going to help our people? Actually, not to help, because it's not a favor. How are we going now to address the issue of our people who went to court and the court ordered that government should compensate them? You are running away from your responsibility, but these people need to be compensated.
Yeah.
Right Honorable Speaker, we shall come back to the House, request for appropriation of funds for court awards that have been made against government, and we shall make the payments. This government respects court orders, and like I told you, the only thing that I don't have is sufficient funds, but as soon as the funds are made available, we shall make the payments.
So now for progress purposes, Honorable colleagues, this is an issue which involves money. Okay? And we are going to be discussing the municipal policy statement for this budget. I think what is important, Honorable colleagues, what is important is that we have to ensure the committee follows up, and these people are listed among those who should be paid, and we appropriate money. Because the Attorney General, if he has no money, we shall continue choosing him here. You've refused to pay, but when he has no money. So, I beg your indulgence, can't we handle this issue? Our senior elder, Kena, can't we handle this issue during Municipal Policy Statement report for the sector?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. It is exactly on that point that I wished to raise a concern. And my concern touches on the rate of how much is being put in the budget. At the rate of this repayment, it will be so many years before government is going to complete what has already been awarded by court and what has been verified. So if we continue putting a token towards this compensation, it has no effect. It will take so many years just to meet those obligations. And I'm hearing now that we want to take on more. What we put in the budget must be realistic. As it is now, it is not really helping. In fact, creates a lot more problem, but there has to be a sufficient provision in order to have an impact and in order for the compensation to make sense, because many of those who have lost the animals have also lost their lives and they're passing away every day. I thank you.
So, Attorney General, if the amounts we've been providing, and Minister of Finance is here, if the amounts we've been providing have been based on the numbers we've been having, can we now, if we acknowledge the other numbers, also provide funding for those numbers.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Justice requested 349 billion shillings for this compensation last financial year. We received a budgetary allocation of 80 billion, of which we have only received 34 billion at this point. And like Honorable Aken has said, the numbers are increasing because we are still receiving data cards. So by the end of this financial year, the number may even be higher. So like you said, Right Honorable Speaker, as we come to the ministerial policy statement, these matters should be ventilated completely, and a decision is made on how we want to proceed with this matter. Beg to submit.
Since these are huge sums, I would be of the view that this is an issue you can present to Cabinet on Monday. And then you give us an update after consulting Cabinet. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Because you see, honorable colleagues, my concern is when our issue, we need money. The risks are ready. Honorable Auma, you're saying there is something else?
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, there is something that if we don't clarify today, it will continue putting government to task. And I feel so bad because all this compensation issue, the person that pays the repercussion is the president. Because it's the president that moves and answers all those questions during campaigns. And as members from the 3 sub-regions, we want this matter to be put at rest. Like right now, we all know that government is financially constrained. And these were matters that were in court with specified numbers verified in court. And Attorney General also in 2016 went and verified a list that is already there. Logically, we have to discuss here with a lot of consciousness and sympathy for the government. If we give an open check and we say we have to go, whether you have gone to court, whether you have not gone to court, to fill the data cards. In Laos, we have 2.5 million people. What if now they all go and fill the data cards? We will be adding more expense to government. Why don't we handle one thing at a time? And I expected the Attorney General, even if this was a guidance, directive of the President, Attorney General is the legal advisor of this government. He was supposed to advise the President so that we move gradually, other than putting government to task day in and day out. Those people will need the response. Yet even government currently do not have the little money to pay the 40,000 people who have claimed. Now, if this happens in Acholi, Lao, and Teso, where will we get this money? We have to be honest and also come with a better recommendation. Thank you.
Honorable colleagues, this is a matter which I gave only 15 minutes on the order paper. I want to stick to the order paper. We have agreed that the Attorney General will go to Cabinet on Monday. And the next week, when we are handling the ministerial policy statement of this sector, this is one of the issues he will first give us a brief statement that will help guide us. Otherwise, we cannot conclude it here the way we are doing it. And also in 3 weeks' time, we agreed in 3 weeks' time, the Prime Minister is going to present a statement on the floor on other regions which were not captured. We agreed that yesterday. Please, next item.
Item 4 on the order paper, laying of papers 4.1 on the Petroleum Fund semi-annual report on inflows, outflows, and assets of the fund for the period ended 31st December 2023.
Thank you. Honourable Minister for Finance.
Right Honourable Speaker, I move in accordance with Section 61(1)(b) of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 as amended to lay on table the semi-annual report on inflows, outflows, and assets of the Petroleum Fund for the period ended 31st December 2023. I beg to lay.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, this is referred to the Committee on Budget as per Section 18 of the PFMA and Rule 173 of our Rules of Procedure. Should be processed and the report back within 45 days. Thank you.
Item 4.2, the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Regulations 2023.
Honorable Minister for Finance.
Right Honourable Speaker, I'll beg for your indulgence because I have a number of regulations here to lay on table in the accordance with the same provisions. And I will start with statutory instrument number.
Wait, Honorable Minister, things are not brought on the table, and I'm told how much. Are they all under PPDA, all of them?
Yes.
Yeah, so if they are all under PPDA, just do at once. Make one statement that covers all of them. You wanted to mention one by one?
Yes, because they vary in terms of titles.
Then I would have also captured them well on the order paper. But okay, we shall capture each on the order paper. Separate the clerk, you capture it separately.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable. The first one is Statutory Instrument 2023, number 97. The second one is Statutory Instrument number 96, 2023. I beg to lay. The third one is Statutory Instrument number 99 of 2023. I beg to lay. The fourth one is Statutory Instrument number 98 of 2023. I beg to lay. The fifth one is Statutory Instrument number 100 of 2023. I beg to lay. Number 6 is Statutory Instrument number 101 of 2023. I beg to lay. The seventh one is Statutory Instrument number 102 of 2023. I beg to lay. Number 8 is Statutory Instrument number 103 of 2023. I beg to lay. Number 8 is Statutory Instrument number 104 of 2023. I beg to lay. Number 9, Statutory Instrument number 108 of 2023. I beg to lay. And finally, Right Honourable, Statutory Instrument number 106 of 2023. I beg to lay.
Thank you. This registration is according to Section 96 for information purposes. So, Honourable colleagues, we shall put them in the library and you can access them. They help you in execution of your duties. Now, Honourable colleagues, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation of Muslim leaders from Bara City, led by the District Qadi, Sheikh Mukwai Abdallah. They include Haj Rashid, District Chairman, Mr. Nsubu Gabdur Nasa, Public Relations Officer, Mr. Silaj Ntutu Mos, District Secretary, Mr. Senkai Murshid, District Land Chairman, Mrs. Nuriat Musoke, Social Affairs, and Mr. Nduhuchre Uthman, Secretary Education. They are represented in Parliament by Honorable Mwinempaka and Honorable Kwasa Rita. They've come to observe proceedings of this House. Please join me in welcoming them once again. Next item.
Item number 5 on the order paper, motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Information, Communications Technology and National Guidance on the petition by the Uganda National Musicians Federation on amendments to the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act.
Honorable Chair. And I know you know how to do it quick. Then we shall capture the whole report on the Hansard for the record, but now do a summary.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. I beg to present the report of the Committee on Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance on the petition by Ugandan National Musicians Federation on amendments to the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act 2006. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, on the 4th of October 2003, members of the Ugandan National Musicians Federation, through Honorable Phiona Nyamutoro, the National Female Youth Member of Parliament, and now the Minister of State in charge of minerals in the Ministry of Minerals, Energy and Mineral Development, wherein they called for expeditious amendment of the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act 2006, justifying that the 17-year-old law has become outdated in the light of advancement in technology and emergence of international best practices. Pursuant to Rule 36, the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, the petition was referred to the Committee on ICT, Communication Technology and National Guidance for consideration, which concluded the investigation and hereby report. Right Honorable Speaker, I move to general observations on the status of the bill for the amendment of the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act. Right Honorable Speaker, on 20th July 2022, Honorable Kiyaga Hillary sought for leave of the House to introduce a private member's bill entitled the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Amendment Bill. The bill introduces amendment to several provisions of the Act. It was, however, resolved by Honorable Hillary Kiyaga and government to work together to come up with a holistic amendment to the Act. And according to Honorable Attorney General, his submission to the committee, consultation on the bill is ongoing. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends that urges government to consider and expeditiously domesticate the provisions of different treaties highlighted above that Uganda has ratified. So, the committee recommends for expeditious drafting and tabling of the amendments to the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act bill to Parliament by government, as the leave was sought in July 2022, and today is 3rd April 2024. Almost 2 years, the bill has not seen the light of the day. Right Honorable Speaker, another general observation is coordination and supervision of the arts and culture sector. The art and culture sector in Uganda is affected by supervision by various ministries and departments across government, including Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, and the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, which has affected realization of the mandate of the sector due to challenges of coordination and activities therein. The committee observes that the management of arts, sports, and culture under a single ministry will not only address the challenges of red tape and lack of centralized management, but also boost multiple opportunities for learning, entertainment, leisure, personal growth, and improving communication within, while also increasing the revenue base for the sector. We take cases from Kenya and Zambia who has put that sector under one ministry, and they are doing well. The committee therefore recommends that the youth, sports, culture, and arts sector should be housed under a single fully fledged cabinet ministry in order to make it undertake critical interest in matters affecting young people, which will lead to harnessing opportunities which can convert this largely informal sector into a commercially viable vehicle for job creation, entertainment, education, and widening the country's tax base. Committee also recommends that government evaluates the viability of a self-regulating privately managed body to license the art industry sector and actors. This is intended to fully exploit and leverage the potential of promising arts industry, just like it has been done through the National Council of Sports. For sports sector, the same has also been witnessed from elsewhere in Nigeria, India, and Korea, which has optimally exploited their arts industry. Right Honorable Speaker, the petitioners had presented 10 issues for consideration in the amendment of the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act 2006. The committee submit on each of the issues as below. 1, the petitioners had sought for revision of charges for the coloring back tunes to ensure a fair split of revenue collected from the coloring back tunes in the percentage of 60% to be retained by the artists and 40% to be remitted to be shared by both the government and the telecom. The committee made the following observations on the coloring back tune. 1, failure by artists and content creators to seek and use competent legal advisors and experts during the contract drafting process, which exposed them to manipulation and exploitation. Unfair and inequitable revenue models. The current distribution model allocates very low revenue to the artists, which is unfair and exploitative. As they own content, there is a need to have equitable sharing of revenue provided for in the regulation by the statutory instrument to avoid the unfairness and inequitable distribution of revenue. Right Honorable Speaker, the rest there are all observations made by the committee, and I would wish to ask members to go through them so that I can attend to recommendation. But the observation number 8, the distribution formula provided as no legal provision expressly provided for the distribution of revenue from coloring back tunes, especially the remittance of 48% to government. Contrary to Article 152(1) of the Constitution, provides that no tax shall be imposed except under authority of an Act of Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, in consideration of this matter, the committee studied and reviewed the practice in Kenya where an amendment via the Copyrights Amendment Act number 14 of 2002 was enacted. The Act expressly provides for the rate of distribution, including the premium rate of the service providers at 8.5%, the telecommunication operation at 39.5%, and the artists or owners of the copyrights
procedure.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. We have tried to look at our iPads. We can't find the report. We are not sure if it is uploaded on our reports, and also it is not being reflected. So we seek for clarity.
Clerk, can I confirm if the report is uploaded? Is it? The report is uploaded, Honorable colleague, because some colleagues are accessing it. I have just ordered for a copy for the Honorable Baram, because he doesn't have an iPad, and the Honorable Chua and the Honorable Sarah. And I know he knows this sector very well, so that's why. ICT, please ensure, because I don't know why some members are saying they have it, others are saying they don't have it. Yeah, let's go on, Honorable colleagues. If I find indeed that you failed to access it, then I can see a way of mitigating that as we go. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues. Since this is the report of the Committee on ICT, I would wish to call upon the IT Department of Parliament to come to the rescue of the House and ensure that all iPads are accessing the report. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends that the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs should amend the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act 2006 to provide for coloring back tunes and then issue a gazette issue and gazette a statutory instrument under the Act to regulate the equitable sharing of revenue for coloring back tunes and related content consuming platforms. The Ministry of Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance should ensure that telecoms create a coloring back tunes monitoring system for purpose of transparency and accountability to the artist and the sector. That Uganda Communication Commission should audit the CRB platforms for copyright infringement content, order and take down and effect compensation for affected rights holders, as well as ensure that telecoms account for non-remittance or non-remunerated downloads. The Artists Association, including Uganda National Musicians Federation and Uganda National Musician Association, should ensure that artists receive sufficient legal support in drawing up and managing contracts. The association should have in-house legal teams. On issue B, imposition of a copy levy on device used in the reproduction of copyright protected work to be shared equally between government and holders of copyrights and neighboring rights registered under the Act. The committee observed that additional levy on technological devices would negatively impact on the drive to enhance technology and have it penetrate all corners of the country. Some of the aspects of the economy that would be grossly affected by a levy on devices, including financial inclusion through mobile money and agent banking, which has allowed for financial access to remote parts of Uganda. These financial services have no connection to reproduction of copyright protected works which are at risk of to protect. This would be an unintended consequence where the levy allowed to be imposed on devices. The committee recommends for the amendment of the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act to provide for private copy levy at the rate that should be determined by software capable of transferring copyrights and storing copyright content. The obligation to pay this levy should be a contractual arrangement between the copyright owner and the software proprietor. That the distribution of the revenue to the different categories of rights holders should be provided for in regulation and may be implemented through respective collecting societies or collective management organizations following system agreed by the concerned parties, but not to be included in the Act. On issue C, imposition of strict measures against broadcasters who use private content because it undermines the intellectual property rights of the artists, hence causing a negative effect on their livelihood. The petitioners recommend
that was pirated, not private.
Pirated, yes, that was pirated. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The petitioners recommended a fine of not less than Uganda shillings 5 million to be paid by persons who is convicted for infringing the copyrights of an artist. Section 46 of the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Act provided for what amounts to infringement of copyrights or neighboring rights. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends that copyright and neighboring rights laws would be amended to cater for development, promotion, and protection of intellectual and copyrights of the value creators of the entertainment industry of Uganda. That government of Uganda embrace the digital era, the artificial intelligence relating to protection of the rights of creators in digital domain by creating a robust online applications infrastructure to identify online right infringements, promote, distribute, sell, collect revenue, distribute proceeds to rightful owners, compute and automatically collect the relevant taxes. On issue D, embracing digital era relating to protection of the rights of artists in the digital domain, fostering innovation in digital content creation and facilitating fair competition for the online use of copyrights. The current The committee observed the need to provide the continuation of protection of copyright irrespective of any generative artificial intelligence modification, as long as the final work do not qualify as derivative works clearly mentioned in the primary copyright orders. The committee recommends that the relevant institutions, including Uganda Police Force and Uganda Registration Services Bureau, ensure enforcement of criminal measures against circumvention of technology protection. The law is amended to provide the provision for express liability of internet service providers and telecom for copyright infringement content, and that the registrar of copyrights is granted power to issue and take down orders, blocking of websites, and other measures that can protect online works. On issue E, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, the adequate capitalization of collective management organizations, CMOs, in order to empower CMOs to carry out their duties such as licensing, collecting royalties, and enforcing the legal framework on the copyrights. The committee observed that whereas the petitioners seek to have adequate capitalization, no evidence was available to show how the said provision of the law are being implemented as a way of raising funds for CMOs. The committee further observed that CMOs therefore need sufficient legal support to collect royalties from users of the protected works. The committee recommends that Uganda Registration Services Bureau should provide CMOs with sufficient legal support in the collection of royalties from the users of protected works. On issue F, establishment of a clear, transparent structure for CMOs that incorporate a high level of accountability, including regular audits and reporting mechanism to ensure that royalties are distributed fairly and rightfully to the owners. The committee observed that most of the proposals raised by the petitioners in regards to CMOs are addressed in the Act. The issue of concern by the petitioners lies more on enforcement of the provision of the law rather than the amendment of the law. The committee recommends that the registrar of copyrights ensures compliance with the provision of the law by CMOs. This will enable provision of fair, equitable, prompt compensation to artists. It will also enhance accountability to the artists, thus ensuring acceptance of the entity. On issue G, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, registration and regulation of all third parties, including telecom companies, aggregators who are involved in the distribution and dissemination of the copyrights content. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends that the owners of the copyrighted works should take responsibility for ensuring protection of their works by avoiding situation of voluntarily uploading their works on public platforms such as YouTube, from which members of the public can easily download such work for further use. That Uganda Communication Commission and Uganda Registration Services Bureau should enforce the law on the registration and regulation of all third parties involved in the distribution and dissemination of the copyrighted content. On issue H, requiring broadcasters to dedicate 90% of their airtime to Uganda music as a way of promoting local content and supporting the development of the industry in the country. The committee has played, UCC has played a critical. Right Honorable Speaker, let me go straight to the committee observation. The enforceability on 70% directive may come into question on whether all broadcasters are implementing the directive. This is caused by lack of adequate monitoring system. The 70% local content is not limited to only music, rather than all content producers by Uganda, including drama, current affairs and news, information programs, education programs, children programs, and sports programs. Committee observed that the request that 90% songs should be Ugandan in both is both unreasonable and impractical, as talent globally is dictated by quality. Ugandan music should therefore have to match the quality of the music from elsewhere to receive adequate airplay. The media is governed by consumers' interest. As the market is liberalized, Ugandan music should thus appeal to the consumers who control and dictate the market and airplay. The proposal for 90% music airplay will be challenged by the consumers for being unfair and intrusion of their freedom and rights to exercise their choice of content or entertainment. The media is based on target audience, and some radio stations play music not common in Uganda, including the country music, the jazz, the rock, and thus distributing them on the local content component with these music genres not locally available and making the proposal impractical. Right, Honorable Speaker, Uganda is a free and liberalized economy, pushing the East African and Pan-African agenda. And the push for 90% music airplay contradicts this agenda. Broadcasters do not operate just to entertain. They also have other objectives such as information and education, which are not necessarily achieved through music. This is also noteworthy that not all broadcasters play music. The committee therefore recommended the proposal for 90% music airplay to be given to Uganda content is rejected, and this is untenable and goes against the policy of free and liberalized economy, as well as the East African and Pan-African agenda. The Uganda Communication Commission should ensure the regulations and should ensure the enforcement of the regulation on local content. And the last recommendation, that is government should deliberately take an interest in local music by improving its quality to compete globally, by putting in place mechanisms to support artists and musicians to provide better music, including financing of the sector, improving studios and equipment. On issue number I, encouraging the use of Ugandan models, actors and actresses, and artists in the advertising, promotion, influencing, and endorsement of products by companies in Uganda, and developing Uganda publishers through the imposition of higher charges of publishing licenses for non-Ugandans, and a way of empowering the local creative industry, provide employment opportunities for local content, and help build a distinct national identity in advertising. Right, Honorable Speaker, the committee observed that it is the role of Uganda Communication Commission to regulate advertisement, and according to Regulation 27, the Uganda Communication Commission Content Regulation 2019, Commission set up standards for advertisement which every operator is obliged to comply with. The mandate of the Commission, however, does not extend to regulating who is to be engaged as a model of a product to be advertised. This lies within the discretion of the company and the product intended to be advertised. Some of the products have a foreign origin with the models already engaged, and the Ugandan dealers or agents in such products may not have the capacity to interfere with the advertisement of assets. The committee observed that it should be further noted that encouraging the use of Uganda artists as model is not a copyright, neither is it a neighboring right, and therefore is not an issue that can be considered in the amendment of the Copyrights and Neighboring Rights Amendment Bill. It would rather be considered under the policy on national local content on human capital. Unfortunately, Uganda presently has no local content law in place. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, the committee recommends that the above prayers would fall under the Build Uganda and Buy Uganda Bubu implemented in the context of international and regional legal treaties. Government should expeditiously reintroduce the local content bill to Parliament for enactment into law. This will come a long way in addressing matters related to local content. The Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives should come up with the regulation under an appropriate law to to address this issue of advertisement. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, on issue I, requiring aggregators of licensed Uganda intellectual property to be domiciled in Uganda as a condition for operating to ease accountability, since they will be subjected to the country's legal framework on the copyright law. The committee observed that the creative industry is global in nature, and in a digital connected world, implementation of this proposal, even if placed under the law, may have practical implication challenges. The committee observed that this matter could be best addressed elsewhere and not through inclusion in the amendment of the copyrights and neighboring rights law. As domicile, all aggregators can be best achieved if a requirement is imposed that all aggregators be incorporated as companies, and if it is a foreign aggregator, be registered as a foreign company in Uganda under the Companies Act. The committee recommends that all the aggregators should be incorporated as companies, and for foreign aggregators, be registered as foreign company in Uganda under the Companies Act 2012. This will ensure accountability by the aggregators while also streamlining the supervision of their operations. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, in conclusion, a comprehensive approach to addressing the challenges facing Ugandan music industry in the digital era will ensure that the country harnesses the opportunities in the industry by improving the livelihood of people in the music industry value chain, and also widening revenue base for government. Modernizing the copyrights law will enhance enforcement mechanism, promote local talent, and create a fair and transparent ecosystem in the music industry. Uganda can therefore foster a thriving and sustainable music industry by addressing the concerns raised, which will not only safeguard the rights and interests of the artists, but also contribute to the culture and economic development of Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I beg to report. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me also to lay on table the minutes and then the copy of report that the committee used while processing this petition, Right Honorable Speaker. And allow me to thank honorable members and thank the House and thank you for giving us opportunity to present. Thank you.
Thank you. Job well done, Honorable Ayotoni. Attorney General, I mean, the simplest is, when are we having the bill? You would solve all these issues.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to thank Honorable Ayo and your committee for a very, very good report. I must say I'm very happy. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, we have consulted widely on the issue of copyright. We have completed the presentation to the stakeholders. We have completed the cabinet paper. It is in cabinet. The committee has raised some interesting issues which we didn't even address. But now that we know the mind of the committee to which we are bringing the bill, I think we shall be able to even bring this up in cabinet. We are happy we've received it. So, Right Honorable Speaker, what I can tell is that this bill has been high on the agenda for the President and the Cabinet, and since we filed this, we are just waiting for time. What I can say is I can report back probably next week on what date we've been given on the Cabinet agenda, when we can discuss this copyright bill. But it's going to be in this House at the earliest. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Attorney General, only that you have pushed hard the Prime Minister. I know you participate in getting space for items on the cabinet.